I have a sore throat, fever, and cough. Is it the flu?
Symptoms consistent with spontaneous combustion,
That doesn't sound right.
hysterical pregnancy, disco fever.
What?
Maybe make an appointment at Summa Health.
Yeah, let's do that.
Get winterized with a wellness checkup and flu shot at Summa Health. Call 800-23-SUMMA or visit summahealth.org/own it today. It's your health. Let's own it together.
Again, getting ready for our final game of the season, and it's one that's been critical like the last 4 or 5 weeks. And we're going to, it's a game that give this team a chance to be bowl eligible, and a team just to regroup and get our team off the skid. It's 4 or 5 weeks ago we sat in this room and talked about what it's like to come off of winning 10 of our last 12 games and 5-3, and we're off of 3 straight losses right now. And again, we're facing a little bit the same thing. We got a team that the only quarterback I can tell you that's not playing this week is Cato Nelson, the redshirt freshman. We decided last week not to go with him when our 2 top quarterbacks got hurt, and so this week we're not sure again. We're going to try to get our quarterbacks ready and see where we are. We've still got about a week, almost a week before the game to see if who we can get ready. But I've tried to predict who's going to start in the past, and that didn't work out so good for me, I guess. But we're going to keep on doing that. And but our defense last week, again, a tough loss last week. Again, we ended up going with a receiver at quarterback in the second half after our number 1 quarterback tried to throw the first play and couldn't throw, and we went with our second quarterback, and he got hurt and went with had to make a decision at halftime not to utilize the freshman. And because some of our walk-ons can hand off, they don't throw it as well. We needed to throw the football a little bit. That put us in a dilemma where we were able to go with Terrell Goodman. And it's funny, he doesn't play quarterback. He plays wide receiver, but he played in high school. And in practice, sometimes you can see who's got a good arm, and he has a good arm. And being a receiver, he knows the plays from the receiver standpoint. And we were able to coach him up. And again, it's not the best situation to be in, but we're continuing to give him reps this week as well as our other quarterbacks. And but our defense really played their best football game. The amazing thing was that with Terrell, we were able to tie it up in the fourth quarter, but we just ran out of opportunities to put him in too many tough situations down to trying to win the game with him and throwing too many things with him that he was not really should not have been doing, would not normally have been doing, and it wasn't enough. So, we'll keep on regrouping and go with the quarterback that's healthy, and we'll go there. And the kids are getting ready to play. Yep.
First thing you notice in the press notes, page 5, all the injuries.
Right.
Given the number of injuries,
right.
Can you even classify this season as a disappointment instead of just a lost opportunity
right.
because of those?
Well, it's you got one more game left, and it's a very difficult situation to try to put a defining moment right now, because anytime you try to find this defining moment in your season or defining moment in your life or whatever, you kind of miss the boat, because there's still an opportunity for the team to go out there and rally, and the seniors really would like to and go out and pull something out. It's been a very, very difficult season. You can lose your best defensive player early on, Jamel Marcus, and you find a way to win. Your best running back the second game, and you can find a way to win. Your best defensive tackle for the year boxing and find a way to win, or your safety for the rest of the year and find a way to win. We've been without the top 3 tight ends the last 3 weeks and not having any tight ends to use. But I think, and unfortunately, in our offense, when you're not sure what you're doing at quarterback, that kind of overrides. That's the one biggest thing. And since Appalachian State, we've just had some uncertainty there. And so I don't want to put a defining moment, because our kids believe they can go out there and play their best football game, and they want to believe we go out there and play our best and win a football game. And but will 6-6 be as good as we hope to have? No, I mean, we want it to be. There's certain things you'd want to do, but again, like I say, we want to make sure we give our players a chance to focus on the opportunity. We got a great football team, a great football team playing great football. They lost their last game, but they've been the most consistent team in our division, and a team that's won a lot of football games this year. And we'll have to play our best football on all phases of the game to beat this team. The teams that have beat them or the teams that have played close to them, defense has had a good job of slowing down their offense. And I think that's going to be a big factor in our kicking game and our defense. But I think I would wait till after this game to put any kind of definition on the season, except it's been injuries have made it a little different than I've had for a long time. Yes, ma'am.
Can you get a sense on how the players feel about going to 2 straight bowls, and are they using that as a rallying cry?
If I didn't tell you, that's been the discussion after about 3 weeks. You start saying, let's just focus on being better and getting guys playing their best, because that goes all the way back to the Buffalo game, and how important it was. Just as important then as it is now for them to, I mean, I don't think in the history of our program we've gone to postseason play. I'm talking about Division II, III, 1AA, 2 years in a row. And so it's been that's one of those, you try to get your guys to set goals that are very high, and that's what these guys have done. We lost a lot of players last year, but our plan, that has been our goal. And I don't want to sense, and I think it still is, seniors have really rallied around. Terrell Goodman, if anything else, he's a senior. He's a guy that came in the month I came in. He was an early commitment that came in January and redshirted. So he's been here as long as we've been here. He knows everything about that. In fact, he committed before I got here. So he really has been a part of this program. And so you hate it's we want to play our best football, put our best foot forward, and move forward. And boy, the possibilities are still there for that type of ending for this season.
Refresh my memory. We all came in at the same time. That
Right.
was my first year too.
Right.
Terrell came in at the same time.
DeAndre Scott.
And I remember him being a quarterback on
Right.
the roster. Why the switch in position? And this is
Uh-huh.
for background more than anything.
Right.
Was it because there was a logjam at the position at the time?
Well, he came in, again, when we came in, he was a quarterback in high school that was recruited kind of as an athlete, and Dalton Williams, remember Dalton Williams
Yeah,
transferred in, and Dalton Williams had run the exact offense that we had run, and it was much more of it was the exact offense he had run in high school. He was a guy that I was going to transfer and play for me at North Alabama, and really wasn't planning on coming up here, but I had recruited him because he was running pretty much the same thing we were running on offense, and when he came in, we tried to find a way to get Terrell Goodman a chance to play, and he played a lot as a freshman, sophomore, played a lot of football for us. And I think he's been behind Jerome Lane, now, and that's been difficult for him, but he's been a great he's such a well-respected senior because he's found a way to help this team whichever way he can. But that was kind of why he moved to – he's been a wide receiver since he's been here. And anytime, sometimes we go out there and the kids throw the ball around. And we've thrown halfback passes with him and things like that over the years. And so, but that's why he was at wide receiver while he was here.
One key,
Mm-hmm.
as we've gone along in the season, it's really been a big asset, has been O'Leary.
Mm-hmm.
We all remember, some of us remember when he came in at Penn State and missed the 2 field goals. But ever since then, after last
Right.
year's time, this year he seems like he's got more confidence even after the 2 missed extra points.
Right.
Against VMI. Is that one of the nice surprises so far this season?
I mean, the guy's never missed. Was he 9 for 9 now on field goals? When we were really cranking it up offense, we were such an explosive. We have been a very explosive offense, scoring from further out, and so he didn't have many. I don't think he's got as many field goal attempts as anybody in our league, whereas Ohio has more than anybody by far in our league. And I don't know that's because of early on as we developed our offense, we became a real big play threat and scored a lot from way out, and have been very good and been very and then probably his distance is not the biggest part of his game. We have a certain point where we won't kick him, because his leg is not probably as strong as Stein is. And so although we made a 45-yarder last week, so you kind of say, okay, at what point do you go for it or punt or field goal or kick a field goal? So, but again, we have been very proud of Tom O'Leary because, like I say, as a true freshman, we brought him in here and gave him a chance real early. Got into a big game. It was tough to go into. Penn State missed a couple. Then Robert Stein came back and had a great career, and he had to come back and wait his turn. So that's been when he goes in, he's been consistently he makes them, and that's been encouraging.
In the running game too, it seems like
Yeah.
He's gotten some good runs the last few weeks. Again, that has to help out a little.
Well, I mean, it does. It doesn't, I wish it could relate to winning. I mean, sometimes when your quarterback position's inconsistent, you got to just run the football and get some things going to figure out what you can do in the throwing game. We've got some outstanding threats at wide receiver, and that's been a huge part of our game. Think back to even Marshall and Appalachian State and some of the games that even Miami game and some of the games that we've really exploded on offense. But the running game is one of those that we've tried to continue to get better and better. We had 5 new starters on the offensive line, but they had been coming along very, very well. We've lost Tassi Latuli, missed the last 2 games with injury and did not play, one of our big tackles. But that's one of those things that has gotten better, and it needs to continue to get better. But a lot of that too is when you've got a Jerome Lane and JoJo Natson, even Austin Wolf and those guys, and you've got a chance to you want to get that ball to those guys as much as possible because they are huge threats. But as we've had to play musical quarterback so much, and at times the most difficult thing is not knowing which one's going to be there and which one's not. We've got to have a good running game to get us through.
Why has it been so important the last couple of weeks to protect Cato's red shirt?
Well, because Tommy's so close to being, again, it's one of those sore shoulders where you don't know till you kind of think middle of the week he's going to be ready to go. And I guess when you think about Ball State, remember Ball State, he missed 3 and then he came back, was able to go into Ball State. He just had a marvelous game. But then he came back the next week and his arm was sore. Well, then you don't know, is it going to be okay? But it's like a pitcher with a sore elbow. And that's kind of, and all of a sudden, so you go through. And at some point, I think if you'd have lost a quarterback in the 2nd or 3rd game, you'd have made that decision, say this kid is going to play. But what happens all of a sudden, it's the 8th or the 9th game, and you look him in the eye and say, son, we're going to pull it. And I don't think at that point, not until last week, I think it was the first week we really said this thing has probably gone on about as long as it can. And but at that point, I think it's probably best that we go with what we've got.
Back to Goodman again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did he come to you? Did you go to him?
Oh, we went to him at halftime. Oh, yeah. I don't think it was. I mean, when AJ came to me as a coach, I don't know if you want me to hear this, but I think the best way for us to get back in this game is with Terrell Goodman, because he throws such a nice touch on the football. That's what can he do? And so he coached him up pretty well. And again, it's not like it's a receiver does know the name of the receiver does know the plays. But we went to him, and then we've tried to get him now involved in the rotation right now because, again, you've got a sore neck with Trevon Chapman that's still getting treatment. You've got that elbow and shoulder with our starting quarterback that every game you don't really have a good idea. And so now you've got to just, like I said, we don't know exactly which one we'll go with right now, but we're going to continue to try to get Terrell Goodman schooled up.
Because just on top of that, he ran a little read option too.
Yeah, I don't know how
I think own goal line for a first down.
Saw that on TV. I think no, did a good job. He really did a good job of just having a feel at that position. But if we don't mess him up by trying to teach him too much, right. But again, like I say, we getting Trevon Chapman's getting work. We're still looking at Tommy, and again, we've got with the week. This is you wonder all year you wanted a week off, just 1 week off to kind of get an idea. And of all years, this week off is before the last game, so it does have given us a time to really look and see what we can do with getting people well and getting people truly rested up and ready to go.
Coach, being down the sidelines, I saw how excited the team was when
Yeah.
Terrell came in and got a couple of long bombs, and they were up on the sidelines. The whole
Yeah.
team was up on the sidelines. How much did that inspire coaching staff and the rest of the team?
It inspired all of us. I mean, you could imagine now going to where we were at that point with our game, and we'd given up a touchdown right before the halftime. It's 14-10. We haven't, and our defense is playing pretty well. And if you remember, at 28-28 in the fourth quarter, 2 of the touchdowns they got was picking up a fumbled handoff and running it 60-something yards for a touchdown, and fumbling with a minute left in the half right on the 1 yard line. And so then you come back out, and Terrell Goodman, who's well respected and liked by teammates out there, and he hits a couple of big balls, and that just got everybody excited. I mean, it was because you're just everybody is fighting their rear end off. You can have a lot of people play hard as they can if that quarterback position's not working well. You know, you wonder where it's got. I don't know that it's. You look at Miami. You know, they had quarterback problem after quarterback problem. They're like 0-6 or 1-6, and going to us, they had to play a freshman, and we beat them. It just wasn't much. And then the next week they found a quarterback, and they've won every game since then. We've kind of been in the reverse. And it can affect whoever you got. So right now, that was a very inspiring thing, and so the kids really like him. So again, we don't know. Like I said, we got 3 or 4 more days to get that decision done, and then but it's going to be so important that we play great defense, because this team scores a lot of points. If they score a lot of points, that throws that one into a tough situation. You got Kent State 14-10 game. You got Miami was a 17-7. It was 10-7 with about a minute left. You've got several games where it came down to 2 or 3 points, but I think it's going to have to be a team effort with these guys, because they have an outstanding defense. They're an outstanding, probably the best defense in the conference that we played, along with maybe the best. Western Michigan was awful good in the conference, but maybe the best that we've played against. And so it's going to take everybody playing our game for us to put this game in a situation where we need it to be.
Being on ESPNU for the players, I would assume they love that.
I don't even know whether So we play these Wednesday. We have played a Tuesday or Wednesday night game on ESPN3. We played on 2. I don't know. I guess they probably know more than I do. Yeah. Yeah, I think they enjoy that. I mean, we sell that. I mean, when we know they're on U or 2, we sell that to the players, because they want to make I saw a Sports Center type catch last night by who was it? Central Michigan. That was an incredible catch the guy made to win the game. But if that wasn't those kids love these Sports Center catches, Sports Center plays. They said that's going to be on Sports Center, and we saw one last night that you just know is going to be on Sports Center. And that's always been something those kids really love to do, is get on TV and have an opportunity. So that's a definitely motivating factor. Should be for both teams, but it is a motivating factor.
Something completely off the beaten path. How much participation did you have in the documentary about your father that's coming up?
You know, I interviewed. They came up here and interviewed me and maybe Chuck Amato, who was on his staff for years, and my brother Jeff, and that was my participation in it. I don't know a lot about that. I don't know. I've seen the trailer, and but I don't know. I didn't have a lot to do with it. I know the story pretty good, and I'm anxious to see what they do. I think my dad is as much at this point in time in his life, at 87 years old. I think he's much more interested that they present his faith and his family life much more than his season. That doesn't. He's not real big on all those trophies he's going to take with him one of these days with him, and where that's going to end up. But I think the fact that he would like to have. He would like to think that the faith that he has in his life and the spirituality and the beliefs that he has will be a part of this, because the football is, you're forgotten. The football part of it it comes and goes, and that part will hopefully go on and make a difference later on.
I've kind of asked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
When you guys get the schedule from the MAC,
Mm-hmm.
That's it, right?
Yeah, we don't have any discussion.
Do they have any discussion ahead of time?
No, last year we did not have any midweek games.
There were no midweek games last week.
Right, last year. Right.
There were, we just weren't selected.
Why?
Right, no, yes, that's what I
We
mean,
didn't
yeah,
pay.
right,
The 2 games 5 days apart, both on the road.
right.
Stuff like that.
We did. Larry brought that to my attention, and we both agreed this isn't the way it ought to be done. 5 days off, but we both knew that the MAC set it up so each team that played would have 5 off this week, then each team would have 6 days off the next week, and then this week we have a week off, and Maya does not, and so that was, which most people, when they have their off week, they get that advantage usually when you have your off week. So again, I think the conference, we have committed to midweek games as part of our TV package. We've made a decision collectively that that's best for the conference to get that type of exposure nationally. And it's a little good for us to gripe about whether we like to be on Wednesday nights or don't like to be on Wednesday nights, or if that's a factor in our conference's attendance records and things like that, why our attendance in our conference is a little bit lower than a lot of other conferences playing on Tuesday night at 8 or 7 or whatever, Wednesday night or Thursday night. We just kind of go with what's given to us, and we got them, and we've had a couple most years that I've been here.
Yeah.
I just wish it was early. I wish they could do the night games in September and give somebody down like the Southland Conference could have the November night games. That would be good if they would say, you guys take the November ones, we'll take the September night games, but they didn't get that one done.
Because the Sun Belt, where it's warm in November, they have the midweek games in October.
Is that what it is? That's what I'm saying. I wish they would switch that around. It'd be good for everybody.
Right.
But, it's like I told, most of y'all that cover high school football here, if you're a championship caliber kid in Ohio, you play championship games in the snow on Friday night. And I don't care. That's what kids do up here. They play Friday night games in the snow. And so that's one of those things that the more I've come back home, because I was raised in Morgantown, not 2.5 hours from here, the more you remember that football and late in the season, if you get the kids from good programs, that's what they do. They play at night, they play when it's cold, and they don't bother them at all.
I probably should be asking Chuck this, but do you think this is one of the most challenging seasons he's had?
We looked into this season, we're going to be rebuilding on defense. We've got to just get better and better. Offensively, we got a chance to score some points, and we got to be explosive, and we got to be productive. And I think if we can just stay productive as he gets better. Now, the difficult thing was even before the season began, we probably lost Jamel Marcus from a standpoint as he got hurt before the season began. And that's not just our best end, that's our best player. And then the guy next to him was boxing. And if you think about it, the guy that was behind Jamel was Deontay Moore. He tore his ACL after him. And so, and then of course, and so in a way, yeah, I think then what Chuck, who is such a stickler for blocking and tackling and stopping a run, we weren't very good at stopping a run. So I imagine, I know since 1998, I haven't had as many. And again, I don't like talking about injuries too much before the final game and saying where all this is going to go, but I know it's he always gets here early, and I don't expect him to work late because he gets here so early in the morning, but he's been here early and late a lot this year.